Hi, my name is Alejandro Pérez, and this is the AI Coffee Podcast. Every week we will have one episode regarding one disruptive aspect of technologies for the time to drink a cup of coffee. Today we are going to talk about facial recognition again, but I will change the perspective of that. If you haven't done it yet, I suggest you to go before to the episode 2 regarding facial recognition and gay faces. If you have already done so, you might be a little bit scared about the feeling of being detected if you vote something or if you have done a crime. Of course, if you have done so, please don't tell me. But you might be maybe scared about that. And you know, after publishing this episode, I was discussing with my father and he told me, why if rich and powerful people pay for avoiding this? So I was really surprised because I haven't thought about that, and that's a really clever idea, right? That maybe there is a way to avoid this facial recognition. Well, in my mind, it's impossible to lie to artificial intelligence, but apparently it is. So I was thinking if there is a possibility to lie and to somehow be hidden, like camouflage of these facial recognition algorithms. And the answer is yes. There is a possibility to be hidden, to be under an invisibility cloak, and I will explain it in this episode. So after this brief introduction, I will explain some ways that you could have to prevent yourself for being detected for a camera that is connected to an artificial intelligence somehow. So most of them, I have taken them from a really interesting article from Business Insider that it's going to be, of course, as a part of the notes of the episode and, of course, also inside the newsletter. All of these camouflage items I will explain you were before 2020. So, of course, because of the pandemic that we all have lived for the last 2 years, maybe there are even more. So if you have more ideas, if you have more suggestions, more clever opportunities that maybe they are a good solution to avoid artificial intelligence, please let me know and I will explain them in another episode. And now talking about you, I want to know more about you. If you are listening to this, please write me. It is really important when someone starts a project like this to receive feedback. You know, I think because of the statistics that I can have from Spotify and from Anchor and from other platforms, I think that this podcast is starting to be listened and some of you are listening it, are following it, and I'm really happy for that. But please write me something like, I like it, or I would prefer you to talk to other subjects, or I would prefer you to do other things, because it's really solitary sometimes. So please, if you have any kind of feedback, any kind of suggestion, or of course, as I told you in the newsletter, you want to come here and join me, please write me. All doors are open for new ideas, for new suggestions, and it would be really great, and I would be really thankful for you to do so. Also, for those that are new in the podcast, there is a newsletter that I write every week called the AI Coffee Newsletter. And I usually write there the notes of the episode with some useful links that might be really useful for you to try to understand and have a better idea about what I say. If you want to subscribe to the newsletter, go to my website, alejandroperezperez.com, and there is a button, a really big one, that you can press and go directly to the site. I have the newsletter. I would be really thankful if you do so, because it is important for me to be also in contact with you somehow, and in case I want to contact you, for example, to propose you coming to a next episode, as I did in the last newsletter, it is really important for me to be in contact with you as well. So please be aware that that exists as well. And then, in this case, the newsletter for this episode is going to be really helpful. Actually, I have already written it. That's not really common. Normally, I used to write the newsletter after the episode, but in this case, I was thinking that it is really useful because in the article I said before from Aaron Holmes, there are plenty of pictures that are really important to visualize what I will explain. And if you have the possibility to go to the newsletter at the same time, please go, because it is going to be really useful to follow the line of the podcast. So if you haven't done it yet, pause the episode, go to the newsletter, and even if you haven't subscribed it yet, you can go and look for the issue number 5. That's how Review, which is the name of the platform I use for the newsletter, used to classify all the elements. So if you go to the issue number 5, you will see all the pictures that I will explain. So it's really important if you are able to do so. And also, I will change, because normally I publish the newsletter on Thursday. I will do it also on Wednesday, the same day I publish the podcast, just because of that, because I know that there are like many important pictures there, and it's really important. So if you go to the newsletter and you see the first picture, which is actually the only one which is not from the article I said before, if we go to this one, we can see that there is a pullover that is really useful to avoid the facial recognition. If you see, there are two guys, and the guy on the left is wearing this pullover and is hidden for the artificial intelligence, not as the one on the right, who is around this blue square, blue rectangle. And that's because an artificial intelligence, a facial recognition algorithm has known that there is a person there, but not in the other one. And why is that the case? Why is it possible to have this? So if you see, or well, of course, maybe you are only listening to that, but you will see later, this person that is avoiding the artificial intelligence is wearing a pullover with people printed on it, and it's really with a lot of colors, and it's like really, really complicated even for a human eye to understand the images in there. So that's why it is impossible for an artificial intelligence, or at least let's say an artificial intelligence at 2022, because maybe in a couple of years it's going to be also possible for them, but not now at least. It's not possible for this to be recognized. This pullover has been developed from the Maryland University, just to also to say the source. There is another one which is really crazy, and I call it lens-shaped mask, and it is done by a Dutch person whose name is Tip van Leeuwenstein, and this mask is actually, it reminds me to COVID sometimes, but it feels like a curved mask of plastic or a transparent material at least, so that real persons are able to see from one to another, but artificial intelligence is not able. Why? Because this curvature of the surface of the mask is reflecting the light differently, so it's really difficult to get where an eye is, or a nose, or a mouth. So it's really complicated to do an algorithm for that. So really clever. And the next one is really similar actually to this one. The name is Wearable Face Projector. Maybe that's not the best, like in terms of comfort, but Jean Kai Liu thought that maybe one solution would be to project on your face from a projector that you wear as a hat to project another face. So it would be impossible for an artificial intelligence to see which one is real between your face and this face that is projected on yours. It feels really complicated for me to wear that, or at least in summer, I would really suffer. I live in Madrid here. Hot weather in summer is impossible. So I couldn't imagine living there with a projector on my head. It would be horrible, actually. But well, really clever at least. If you live in another country, maybe, or even if you don't feel hot, like you can wear really hot clothes even in summer, it would be really great, actually. But well, I recommend you to see that because it's really, really impressive. Then there is another one, which is actually really intelligent. It's made by Informatics, the National Institute of Informatics in Tokyo, and it's called Privacy Visor. What's that? What's a privacy visor for them? So, well, before telling you that, it is really important to understand how facial recognition works. I told you already in the episode 2 a little bit, but I will explain you a little bit more now. So, facial recognition usually works by pixels. So, it goes through the whole image. Well, it's going to be like a really simplistic explanation of that, but it goes throughout the whole image and it looks for your eyes, for example. And when there is like a pixel similar to the center of the eye, for example, let's say, it goes around and it goes looking for the next one. And then doing little by little that, like in an iterative process, it is the AI is able to determine your eyes, your emotions, even or even more things. So, well, that's a really simplistic model of explanation of how facial recognition works, but still it is really useful to understand how this lens works. Because if you see the image, the lens have purple lights all around. It might be maybe not so comfortable to wear those, I don't know, but the point is like it hides you only by applying these small points of light on your face. It's really complicated for an algorithm to see, for example, your eyes and then to continue this iterative process I explained before. So, wow, what a clever solution. Maybe not so comfortable, but maybe one of the most comfortable at least. And the next one from Martin Bax is really scary, but the idea is to wear a ski mask. And well, actually, I don't really understand why they use also these blur-faced patterns. But actually, I think that wearing a ski mask is good enough to hide you from an artificial intelligence, but still, they have a blur face patterns on it, so it is really another possibility to be hidden. Let me know what you think about that. And the next one is really clever. They are done by CB Dazzle, and actually it's makeup. It's a camouflage makeup. If you look for that, they explain that they want to do something similar of the World War I tactic to camouflage. So it is one of the most clever solutions actually for me. So the thing is like, as I explained before, facial recognition has something connected to spots on your face. So what they do is actually they use makeup to trick and to create other spots, other points on your face. So it's really hard for the algorithm to follow the iterative process. So really clever, really intelligent, and maybe one of the top 3 at least for me in case I need to wear those. The next one is a head scarf with faces by Sam Wickers. Wow. Actually, it is the same for me as the ski mask. Actually, what's the difference? If you wear a headscarf like that, isn't it enough? There is a lady in the image and she's wearing a really big scarf around all her head and also the neck. For me, that would be enough, but still what she does is she has painted on the scarf different faces. So the algorithm would be somehow tricked because there are faces all around the face, the real face. So yeah, just being completely covered would be enough maybe. What do you think? The next one is really similar to the first one. It's graphic print clothes by some Belgian researchers. And well, the point is really similar. They use pattern clothes to trick the algorithm as the first one. The last one for me is the funniest. Please go, if you are able, go to the newsletter and you will see two people with a plastic cover all their face. Well, of course, it's going to work, of course, but I don't know if they're even able to breathe or to talk or even to see. I am not able to determine that from the picture. Maybe yes, but well, still, maybe that's not the most comfortable thing to wear on. And yes, of course, it will work, but still, maybe that's not also really practical. If you are on Spotify, please go to the notes of the episode because I will put one quiz for you to tell me which is your favorite one. And the one with more votes is going to be in the next episode. I will talk about that, and I will write it down in the newsletter so you will see the results of the voting. But wow, in conclusion, I think that all of them are really clever. Well, of course, you can directly wear a bag on your face or something like that, which actually is really similar from the last one. But, well, it's really a big debate, a big topic, how to be hidden, how to have privacy actually somehow. And that's really a long-term debate. If you think about that, I was thinking that camouflage is really important even for survival. If you think about zebras, for example, zebras are somehow, they have the evolution in zebras has been related to camouflage from the predators. So yeah, it's really natural somehow. So I have the feeling that, are we the zebras now from AI? Are we the zebras that we need to be camouflaged from another predator? I just leave it here. But yes, it's a really, really big debate. And of course, I want you to tell me if you think that these kind of invisibility cloaks are possible, or if you feel like even though you wear these things, you will be detected somehow with your mobile phone, from your iWatch, or from all the kind of detectors that we all have around. Maybe it's absolutely useless. What do you think about that? Thanks for being here one more week. If you liked it, please subscribe to the podcast and to the newsletter in alejandroperezperez.com. Please share both with your friends and relatives, and don't forget to give me 5 stars in Apple Podcast and Spotify. See you next week. Bye bye.